Blitz is underway. The government is cracking down on illegal immigrants. There are widespread raids and arrests at warehouses, car washes, vape shops and restaurants. In fact, the immigrant enforcement there, they raided 828 premises, including an Indian restaurant. What does this mean for the country and the immigrants there? Why are they being deported in droves now, and how many Indians are living in the UK illegally?
The United Kingdom. For decades, it has been a beacon of opportunity for millions of Indians, a place to study, to build a career, to create a new life. The ties between our two nations are deep, historic, and personal. But what if that well-trodden path is becoming narrower, steeper, and for many, a dead end? A series of sweeping new rules set to be fully enforced by 2025 are fundamentally reshaping the UK's immigration landscape. There are whispers and headlines of a mass exodus, with some claiming millions are considering leaving. Is the UK really closing its doors to Indians? Tonight, we're going beyond the sensationalist headlines. We will break down the official new government policies, piece by piece, and reveal the unvarnished truth about what these changes mean for Indian students, skilled workers, and families. The dream of a life in the UK is not over, but it is changing profoundly, and you need to know why. Let's be clear from the outset. The new immigration rules we're discussing are not an outright ban on Indian nationals. You won't find any official document that says Indians are no longer welcome. But the effect of these new interconnected policies creates a much tougher environment. And Indian nationals, who form one of the largest groups of immigrants to the UK, are disproportionately affected. The changes are complex, touching every part of the immigration system, from work and study to family life, and the ultimate goal of settlement. So let's dissect these new rules to understand their real-world impact. The first and perhaps most significant hurdle is the dramatic increase in salary requirements for the skilled worker visa. As of July 22, 2025, the general minimum salary threshold an applicant must be offered will rise to £41,700. This is a substantial jump from previous levels. To put that into perspective, many graduate-level jobs, especially outside of London and in crucial sectors, simply do not pay that much to start. This immediately prices out a huge number of talented individuals. Furthermore, the skill level required for this visa has been raised back to a graduate level, RQF Level 6, which is equivalent to a bachelor's degree. This change alone has removed around 180 occupations from being eligible for sponsorship, hitting sectors like hospitality and logistics, which have traditionally employed many Indian workers. So, while the door isn't officially closed, the price of the ticket to get through it has just gone up significantly. Next, let's talk about students. Indian students have consistently been the largest group of international students in the UK. A key attraction was the graduate route visa, which allowed students to stay and work for 2 years after their degree. This was a golden opportunity to gain international experience and potentially find a sponsored job. However, this has now been reduced to just 18 months. This shorter time frame puts immense pressure on graduates to find a high-paying, sponsor-eligible job almost immediately after finishing their studies. Compounding this is the new restriction on dependents. As of early 2024, most international students on taught master's courses can no longer bring their families with them. Only those on specific postgraduate research programs, like PhDs, are exempt. This has been a huge deterrent. For many mature students, the decision to study abroad is a family one, and the inability to bring a spouse or children has led to a sharp drop in applications from India. The changes don't just affect those coming to work or study, they strike at the heart of family life. The minimum income requirement for a UK citizen or resident to sponsor a foreign partner or spouse for a family visa has seen a steep increase. The threshold was raised to £29,000 in April 2024, up from £18,600, with initial government plans to push it even higher to Prandry, £38,700 in early 2025. Although the new government has commissioned a review of this final increase, the current £29,000 level is already a significant barrier for many families. Imagine a British citizen of Indian origin falling in love with someone from India. They now face the daunting task of proving a high income just to live together in the UK. Furthermore, for the first time, adult dependents on family visas will need to demonstrate a basic level of English proficiency right from their first application. And for those who do manage to navigate this complex maze and build a life in the UK, the goalposts for permanent settlement have been moved further away. The standard qualifying period to apply for indefinite leave to remain, which is permanent residency, is being doubled from 5 years to a full decade. This creates a prolonged period of uncertainty for migrants, who for 10 years will have to repeatedly renew visas, pay hefty fees, and live with the knowledge that their long-term future in the country is not secure. This change sends a clear message that settlement is no longer an expected outcome of long-term legal residence, but something that must be earned over a much longer period. On top of all these policy changes, the overall cost of immigrating has skyrocketed. The Immigration Health Surcharge, or AIS, which is a mandatory fee for most visa applicants to access the National Health Service, now costs £1,035 per person per year. For a single person on a 5-year work visa, that's over £5,000 paid up front, in addition to visa application fees, which have also increased. For a family, these costs can become astronomical, running into tens of thousands of pounds before they even set foot in the country. So, what is the cumulative effect of all this? Are millions really leaving? While the millions figure might be an exaggeration, the trend is undeniable. Data from the Office for National Statistics for the year 2024 showed that a record 58,000 Indians left the UK. This made Indian nationals the largest group of non-EU citizens to emigrate from the country. The report directly links this exodus to the tightening immigration rules, with a significant number of those leaving being students and workers who arrived with different expectations. They came for the opportunity, but the ground shifted beneath their feet. The dream of settling down, of building a permanent future, has become more distant and more difficult for many. The UK government's stated aim is to reduce net migration and encourage businesses to hire locally. Prime Minister Keir Starmer has spoken of the risk of the UK becoming an island of strangers and has emphasised that fair rules must be followed. However, critics argue that these broad-stroke policies are causing a brain drain, damaging key sectors like healthcare and technology, and making UK universities less competitive globally. There is a strange contradiction at play. Even as these barriers to people movement are being erected, the UK has been finalising a major free trade agreement with India designed to boost the flow of goods and PS services. It seems the UK wants Indian trade, but is becoming far more selective about Indian talent. So, to answer our initial question, it's not that the UK no longer wants Indians. It's that the UK is now looking for a very specific kind of Indian immigrant. One who is highly skilled, highly paid, and able to navigate a system that is more expensive and more restrictive than ever before. The era of broad opportunity is giving way to an era of high selectivity. The path is still there, but it is undoubtedly a tougher climb. What are your thoughts on this? Are you an Indian national who has been affected by these changes? Do you think these policies are fair? Let us know your story in the comments below. This is a conversation that affects thousands of lives, and it's one we need to keep having. If you found this video informative, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to see it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.